Hello there, Virgos. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast. This is for the month of July. I apologize for getting these out so late. I actually decided literally on June 30th that I wanted to switch over from doing the weekly videos that were so short to something more in-depth and to do monthlies with those. So started a little bit behind the curveball and just working to get caught up. I'm hoping that by the time, at least by the time September rolls around, I'll be on track to be ahead of time, if not August. So we'll see how that all pans out. But anyway, my apologies for getting July's out to you late. This first segment of time that we're going to look at is actually July 9th through the 18th. And we're just going to take a really in-depth look at that time frame. Okay. So we've got our cards down. By the way, for those of you who don't necessarily need to witness the cards being shuffled and put down, feel free to just fast forward past all of that, just scroll past it. But I do include that in the videos because some people do like to actually witness that happening. So even though I don't have my camera on the cards, at least you can hear and tell what I'm doing, for those of you who want that. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at today, Virgos, we're going to look at your environment. And your environment, for those of you who don't know how I read this, is any place where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it's going to be home. For some of you, it may come up as school or work, although I'm not sure how that would happen with the pandemic going on, especially the school part. But, you know, you'll recognize the environment as I talk about it from the things I'm saying, okay? So basically, it seems to me that you are sharing your environment right now, Virgos, with somebody who is mature, but also fun-loving, very cheerful, very optimistic. They're very social, outgoing. They think outside the box. They don't let society or culture tell them what's normal and what's okay or what's not okay, which also makes them actually really good problem solvers. And so this is somebody that you're sharing your environment with. For many of you, this is going to be a masculine type energy, but does not have to. We are doing a general reading. And I'm sure all of you realize that if you want to find out specifically about your own situation, the best way to do that is get a private reading where I can look at your particular energy just all on its own. So anyway, let's continue on with this. So you're sharing this with this person, and I think that this is actually a new thing that's happening for you to be sharing your environment with this person. So they may be coming into the environment sometime between the 9th through the 18th, or you may be coming into their environment sometime between the 9th and the 18th. And it looks to me like there's a lot of advice and information being passed back and forth between the two of you. It looks like you guys both have, guys and gals, both have information to share back and forth in this workplace, and it looks to me like both of you feel very comfortable in sharing advice and sharing information back and forth. Comes across to me that you guys complement each other very well. Where you're strong, the other person could use that strength. Where you could use strength, the other person is there with that. So you guys are doing, you know, this is kind of the ideal setup if you're going to share your environment with somebody. This looks like the kind of ideal setup for that. Okay, for a lot of you, this is going to be a work environment, is how this feels to me. Although for some of you, it could be home. For some of you, you could be working from home. But there's definitely overtones of, you know, getting things accomplished, making plans, working things out here. So to me, that feels like probably we're looking at 60 to 70% of you. This is a work situation. There's going to be some of you that it is a home situation, but for the majority, we're looking at a work situation there. for your environment. Now, let's move on. We're going to look next at your subconscious leanings. So subconscious leanings, we're just looking at the background programming going on in your mind, the things that you're thinking about when you're not really thinking about anything else. You're not focused on anything else. Okay, so these things will come up to the conscious level, and then they'll kind of go back into the background for a while. But subconscious, you are wanting to make some long-term plans, and it seems to me that there's somebody who is draining or depleting. They can be like a psychic vampire, or they could be draining or depleting financially, or just, energetically. Like, well, that's a psychic vampire. So you've either got somebody draining you financially or somebody who's a psychic vampire, and you are making plans about how you can separate yourself from this person so that you're no longer being drained in whichever way it is by this person. And that's what's going on in your subconscious. Like, okay, I need to make a plan. I need to start figuring out how to get myself separate from this. I want to be in a more balanced situation where I'm not feeling drained and dragged down all the time. Okay, so that's subconscious leanings. Next thing we have coming up, Virgo, for you between the 9th and the 18th, we're looking at learning style during this particular time. And our learning styles can change over time. Depends on what we want to learn about. Sometimes our learning style has to do with academic. Sometimes it has to do with research and Google. Sometimes it has to do with, in some cases, picking up your partner's phone and just making sure everything's on the down low, that everything's cool and copacetic. So lots of different ways to learn, and so we do go through different phases, different styles. So right now we're looking at your learning style main theme for July 9th through the 18th. It does look like there's a little bit of toxicity going on here. I feel like you've definitely got some suspicions going on, and you are digging in to figure out, okay, are these suspicions valid or not valid? I'm going to tell you from the card I see here that, you know what, I'm not even going to go that far, because that could actually go two ways. So I'm going to just let that kind of hang out there. You have some suspicions. You're looking to either validate or negate those suspicions for your learning right now. I think that you're trying to look at something with the big picture, but I think you're also getting really frustrated because it's hard to look at big picture because you're really paying attention to details. And as you're paying attention to details, the big picture is getting kind of clouded over. Kind of like, you can't see the forest when you're right in the middle of the trees. That's what this looks like to me. Yeah, there are some things that you're learning. There are some things that you're finding out, definitely. And I think that that information that you're learning and finding out is very grounded. So Virgos, it looks to me like you are looking for some information based on some suspicions that you're having or some emotional reactions that you're having to a situation. You're having a hard time seeing the big picture because you're looking at the details, but you are finding some real, true, and grounded information as you are looking for it. So what I'm going to say to you is, don't necessarily trust those suspicions. You may be being triggered. I think some of you are and some of you are not. We've got about a 50-50 mix here. But you want to trust the evidence that you find. You want to trust what you see right in front of your face. That information that comes up, that's what you want to trust much more than your emotions right now, because your emotions are not reliable for information at this moment. And I think that's because whatever's going on has you triggered. So where normally I would say follow your intuition never lies, I don't think you can hear your intuition right now. I think your ego and your fears are louder than your intuition right now. So that's why I'm saying don't follow those emotions. Follow what is in front of you. Follow the evidence that is in front of you as you're learning new information. Okay? Now, communication style. When it comes to whatever this is that we're looking at for this time frame between the 9th and the 18th, I think that your communication is there's definitely at least one person that you're being very possessive and protective of as you're communicating. You are definitely making sure that they know what their boundaries are, what you're expecting from them. You may even be checking up on them and communicating with them to find out where they are and what they're doing pretty much all the time. This ties back into that insecurity that has you looking for information. It's interesting. And I think that this other person has, this other person that we're seeing where this protective or possessive communication is coming in is a family member. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a significant other here. This could be if you're protective of a sibling or a child or even a parent. But it does come to me that this is family, looking at these cards, that you're being really protective and possessive of, and that you're feeling really insecure about. Like you really have to, you feel like you need to really keep a good eye on them. You could be dealing with a family member who has some type of addiction or some type of obsession. You could also be dealing with a family member who has some kind of mental instability going on, and you're just trying to keep a good eye on them and sort of protect them from themselves. But you're feeling very insecure about what's going on with them. I don't think you know exactly what's going on with them. And that's why you're digging, trying to find out, okay, what is actually happening here? But don't jump to any conclusions, because for a lot of you, whatever this is that's going on your suspicions are not on base. I'd say for half of you, at least, your suspicions are not on base, because you've got some really nice evidence. You've got some really nice information coming forward. All right. Yeah, we're going to let that go. I think we've talked about it enough. All right, let's look next at work. For those of you who haven't ever had a private reading with me before, or who haven't watched my monthlies before, you may not realize that for work, I'm kind of weird. I see work as two different things. I see work as that thing that you do to make a living or to feel productive in the community if you're not, quote unquote, making a living. And then the other way that I see work has to do with those things that we do to improve our own character for our own personal satisfaction. So we're going to look at work both ways. We're going to look at it the outside way, or where you're interacting with the outer world outside of you, and then we're going to look at work as far as your own inner work for your own character, for your own satisfaction with yourself. So as far as work in the outside world, it looks like things are turning around. All right, it looks like you were feeling definitely on your own, kind of out and away from everybody else and on your own. Not surprising to see this come up with the whole thing with coronavirus. And now it looks like where you had a break for a while, that break is over. That break is coming to an end. It is time to get back to work again, and things are going well. There are good things happening at work. You're busy at work. Things are picking up. So where things were really rough for a while, that whole phase is turning around, and you're coming into another phase where things are going much, much better. Okay? And so we're looking at sometime between July 9th through the 18th for that turnaround to happen. La da da da. The next thing that I want to look at talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being expanded from the 9th to the 18th. What do we have? You are definitely working on being logical in making your decisions. It looks to me like you are having to make some decisions during this time where there's a lot of confusion around what's happening, and so you're working on not making panic decisions, not making decisions based on everything that you don't know, but looking at, okay, well, here is what I do know. This is what I can count on. And so this leads me to the conclusion that at least for now, this decision is the best way to go. So that's really what you're working on, where you're growing or expanding, is to make decisions in a logic-based way instead of in a fear-based way or a confusion-based way. And even part of this growth is not to rush into a decision where there may not even need to be a decision made if you sort of wait until more information comes to the surface. There may not be any change that needs to be made once you know the rest of the story. It may just be about, having that patience to wait and see. And so some of this is about having the patience to wait and see, but other parts of this has to do with the idea of making a decision in a logical way. The bottom line is avoiding confused decisions and avoiding panic decisions, okay? Nothing on impulse. Everything logically. That's where you're growing or expanding right now. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about those things that you stand for, okay? So it looks to me like there's somebody that you interact with in your life who you're standing up for. Somebody else has said something negative or bad about them, and you've stood up for them and, said, hey, why don't you mind your own business? Or maybe she had reasons to do this, or he. You haven't walked a mile in their shoes. So this is a person that you're actually standing up for at some point between July 9th through the end of the 18th. And it looks like this person is somebody who manipulated a situation so that they could walk away from it. And this is a situation that was leaving this person feeling depleted, like they had given everything they could possibly give to it, and they just were not getting replenished from the situation at all, only depleted. And so they had to make some planning. They had to make some strategy. They had to manipulate some things in order to be able to make their getaway, is the actual phrasing that I'm hearing from Spirit. But they felt like they desperately needed to make a getaway. And so somebody has criticized this person for handling things the way that they did, and you have, well, not yet, but sometime between July 9th and 18th, I think you're going to stand up for that person. For some of you, this is actually, honestly, this is talking about somebody on TV. This is a TV character that you're actually standing up for to somebody else. This is not necessarily somebody you even interact with, which is not what I normally see in the cards. But for a lot of you, this is going to be somebody that you interact with. And you may have even, for some of you, that this isn't a TV character or somebody that's a little distant like that. For some of you, you may have even helped this person to strategize a way for them to make their getaway from whatever this was that was leaving them depleted. Okay? La da 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 da. Next thing I want to look at. This has to do with how other people see you. So this is that person that was criticizing the person who had to make their getaway, had to strategize to make their getaway, how they see you, especially after this interaction, immediately after this interaction. They see you as somebody who sort of holds back yourself. Like they don't see you as being somebody who just shares their emotions all over the place. And they see you also as especially holding back with somebody from the past who you don't have a lot of good memories with. So they're just basically seeing you as not opening up to somebody just because they show up, just because you have a past, even if the past isn't any good. They're seeing you as somebody who is, protecting yourself, protecting your feelings, protecting your emotions, maybe even protecting your assets when somebody from the past comes around. And they also see you as somebody who is very strong with this. Like they have no doubt that you'll be able to pull off protecting yourself when somebody comes back from the past. They may even be seeing you as, if you're connected with this person that had to manipulate to make her getaway, they may be seeing you as somebody like that whatever the situation was that this person got away from, whether it was a person or an employment opportunity or something like that, when this approaches you, that you're standing firm, like you're not sharing information, you're not going to tell this person where the other person went off to, you're not going to give a forwarding address to a place where they used to work, you're just not going to be sharing that kind of information, and you're going to stand strong in that. And they recognize that, they see that in you, that you're just not going to give. Okay. Next, we're going to look at the pivotal situation for this particular time frame. So this is kind of where things sort of change direction. And so what we have coming up here is that there is something that you're trying to complete or finish. And it looks to me like you're working steadily towards it. And you are making really good progress, but I don't think it's completing or finishing by the time the 18th is over. But you are making steady progress towards the completion of whatever this project or idea is. And yeah, I mean, I've just got 2 cards that say that you are definitely making progress towards this, and you're making graceful progress towards this, even if it is slower than what you anticipated. I think whatever this is that you want to complete, that you're tying up these loose ends on, I have no doubt that you will actually be able to complete that in the future. It's just a matter of it actually takes some work. It takes some time, some energy, some effort, and some grace. Okay, being very gracious as you complete it. All right, let's look next at things that are going on as you're tying up loose ends on this project. It looks like you are, for some of you, you are adding to your support network of people in general. For others of you, I think what's going on is you are finding people who are willing to back you financially with a project or a situation, that probably the one that you're trying to complete. So if this is what's going on right now, I don't think that you're finding everybody. You're not finding all that funding if this is about that, but you're finding some of it, and you're making good progress towards it. For those of you that are looking at funding, at manifesting funding right now, don't overlook your friends. A lot of the funding could come through people that you already know that you would consider to be good friends, or maybe even not good friends, but friends. They might be interested in investing with you. But for others of you, this is just building your support network more expansive and more strong and more varied. All right. La da da da. What else is happening? You're definitely doing some research. You're finding out more information about how to actually reach this goal or bring this to a culmination. As you're doing research, you're getting good ideas about how to make this happen more quickly. And I do think that you're paying for some of the information that you're finding here. I do think that you're paying for some type of education or class, some kind of information that you're finding here to help you move forward with a really creative idea that you have, so that you can come to the conclusion of this and meet this goal that you're trying to meet. Wrap up those, final last strings on whatever this goal or target is. Now, how do we see you ending the week, Virgos? It looks like you're putting a lot of energy and effort into changing a situation. It looks like you're not so happy with some of the people that are in your environment right now. And because you're not so happy with them, you are basically, I feel like you're stashing away resources. And I think that by the end of the week, you're going to stash away enough resources that you can come out of this situation where you're not happy with those people around you, and come into a place where you're able to actually celebrate bringing that to an end of, having that company that makes you feel like, just makes you feel stressed out. And I think there's a lot of drama around this other person or this group of people. And so you being able to move away from that gives you something to just feel some relief and some celebration about. And I think that is going to take saving up some resources for that. But I think that by the end of the week, you're going to be at a place where you can actually celebrate some progress with that, I should say. Okay? So, I shouldn't say the end of this week, the end of this time frame. Anyway, that's what we have for your first portion of the month, Virgos. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to take a little break now, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the next portion of the month. Okay, Virgos, we are back again. This time we're looking at the time frame of July 19th through the 25th. So this is one particular week in July. We do have a new moon on the 20th during that week. Not sure what that moon is in. I think it's a new moon. It's a blacked out one. Yes, new moon. Is that right? Yeah. All distracted and we haven't even got the cards down. Goodness. Okay. I think we're ready, Virgo. Let's start putting down the cards. Okie dokie smoky, let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. First of all, we are going to look at environment for this time frame for you guys, Virgos. What we have going on. Wow, you guys have a complicated situation going on in your environment for this time frame from the 19th to the 25th, Virgos. It looks like I'm actually kind of liking this, tell you the truth. It looks like there's something going on where you are really tapping deep into yourself, maybe into your own spirituality, into your own intuition around things that are happening in your environment. And you're tapping into that deeper part of yourself to find some solutions. It looks like there has been something that has disappointed you. Something that maybe even other people would look at and would say, well, that's really devastating. But you have not let that disappointment slow you down or stop you. You're just basically kind of taking it in stride and you're going, okay, so that's not working. What are some opportunities that could actually work? And you're focusing on those opportunities and moving forward. And it's bringing you to a situation where whatever the disappointments were that you had before, you have actually gotten into a situation now that you're better off before those disappointments even happened. And this is all around your environment. So this could be, if we're talking about a work environment, this could be, you know, if it's your own company, this could be bringing your company into a much better place that it wouldn't have gotten to without these disappointments before. This could be a situation where maybe you were out of work because of the pandemic, and now you're finding a job that actually works out much better for you. But if this is around home, kind of the same thing. There's something that happened that caused you to start looking for some deeper solutions, some deeper answers, even to look into your own spirituality and find some deeper answers. And so even if this is your home, you're still in a better situation than you were when these disappointments first happened or before they first happened. So this is a card that talks about improvement happening in your environment. It's happening because of something that happened that seemed bad, but actually because it motivated this improvement, really it was a blessing in disguise. And it's something that this improvement happened because you looked beyond the disappointment for the new opportunities that you could work with or that you could do something with. So part of the reason that this happened in your environment is because you have been very proactive. And I know I'm speaking in past tense. I kind of tend to do that. We're still talking about July 19th through the 25th, but as the energy comes to me, I usually see it as this is what you have done. This is kind of how it comes across to me. So even though the dates are the 19th through the 25th, and I'm saying this is what you did do, it still very well could be in the future. This is in that time frame of the 19th to the 25th. So don't let my past tense speak throw you off. Don't let that convince you that whatever was going on actually happened before the 19th to the 25th. This is what's happening the 19th to the 25th. And of course, I'm recording this before that. I think today is what, the 8th? Something like that. What is today? Wednesday, the 8th. Okay. Next, we're looking at your subconscious leanings for the time period of 19th through the 25th. There is something here that you are basically, in your subconscious, you are trying to let something go. And you're trying to make a transformation and change things. There's somebody in your life who has shown you their true colors, and I think that it really shocked you. And I don't think I'm overstating it when I say that it really shocked you. And when they showed you their true colors, it didn't put them in a more positive light. It put them in a more negative light. And so you're not very happy in your associations with this person, whether that's a vendor at your company, whether that's a friend, whether it's an acquaintance or a colleague, whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's a family member. Somebody has shown you their true colors and you're not happy about your association with that person, and so you are wanting to transform that situation. You may be looking at, okay, how do I transform that situation? Your subconscious may be looking at how to do that. Do I walk away from this person I'm not very happy with? Or can we talk things over and make things so that they're handled in a different way in the future? Your subconscious is really looking on how do we make that transformation from how things were to something that seems like it would be better. All right, next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about your learning style and your communication style, both as you're going through the particular time period of the 19th through the 25th. It looks to me like there's a whole lot of communication, a whole lot of confusion around you over some kind of inspiring idea that you're having. An inspiring idea is just an idea that has you feeling really enthusiastic and excited, wanting you to take action, and could be a unique idea even, but definitely it's one that there's a lot of enthusiasm behind it, but there's confusion around this idea that you're feeling so enthusiastic about, and I think there's confusion around this idea because you're not hearing from somebody else who would be a participant in this idea if you got it off the ground, and there's just quiet that comes from them. So you have the confusion because you really want to move forward with it and you want this other person to be a part of that inspiring idea. They are not letting you know if they're interested in participating or not. So there's confusion here as to whether this is going to get off the ground or not. And this is all, in that things that I'm learning situation. So first of all, you're learning about the inspiring idea. Then you're learning about if the other person is willing to go into it with you. But there's a lot of confusion around this during the time frame of the 19th to the 25th. I'm not sure that you actually have a resolution on that confusion by that point, by the end of that point. As far as your communication style right now, I am seeing lots and lots and lots of enthusiasm around the things that you're communicating at this point. Yep. And I think that even as far as thinking about this thing, you only stop thinking about it when you're sleeping, and you're probably dreaming about it when you're sleeping too. So there's lots of communication around this, and I think that some of the communication has to do with what kind of energy or effort it's going to take to be able to do this, and this idea that you have all this enthusiasm for. What type of finances will it take? So there's a lot of communication about, this is what we need to move forward. This is what we're going to have to put into this to get this to move forward. So I think you're communicating a lot. I think you're waiting on somebody to get back with you as to whether they're willing, whether they see your vision and whether they're willing to jump in on it or not. Interesting. Next, we're going to look at work. And so, I have the two styles of work. I explained that for the last time frame. So I'm assuming that you've seen that, and we'll move forward without a second explanation. So when I'm looking at work, I do think you're coming, and I thought I saw this the last time frame we did too, but it looks like you're coming away from working alone or working independently. And at this point, I see you as, I think there's an opportunity here for you to resurrect something that you used to be working on that's kind of got set on the back burner for a while. And I think you're passing. You know, maybe you had a part-time job, or maybe you had a gig that you were doing with other people or something like that, or some kind of gig that you normally did. And I think this comes up again. It comes back up as an opportunity for you to get back into it again. And you're passing on that. You are working with other people now, definitely, and it looks like you're also receiving some kind of recognition or appreciation for a project that you either spearheaded or that you were a part of, where this project benefited not only yourself but also other people as well. And I feel like some of those other people that this project has benefited are letting you know that they really appreciate the part that you played in getting this off the ground. So interesting, kind of mixed bag. There's a lot going on at work between the recognition and between having an opportunity come up to go back to something old and turning that down. Also more social, more with people at work during this time frame. So like I said, there's a lot happening. You have a busy week at work. At least busy as far as decisions that you have to make. Yep, and people you're interacting with. Okay, let's look at inner work. There is some kind of cycle that you have been working on for a while to break. Some kind of unhealthy cycle that you had. And this is a general reading, so with these cards I'm not able to tell exactly what type of cycle that was that you're breaking here, or that you're working on breaking here. But I can tell that it was something that was unhealthy. It was a cycle. It had you kind of stuck in a rut, and you have been working on breaking that. And I think that you're very victorious. You've got a really auspicious card here. I do think that you break that cycle during this time frame. Whoop whoop. Awesome. Awesome sauce, guys. Congratulations. All right. Let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded during this time frame of the 19th to the 25th. Okay, so you are definitely growing in the area of working on your own. Isn't that funny? Now in work, I just saw you working with people, but I think that you also have something going on the side where you're working by yourself on your own. I think you have some really exciting ideas that you have a lot of enthusiasm about. You can see where these could really take you far if you keep focusing on them and paying attention to them. It may be that you gave somebody else the opportunity to work with you on this idea and they just couldn't see it and they turned it down. But now you're working on it on your own. You're realizing, you know what, I'm not going to limit myself to only doing this if so-and-so signs on. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this either way, no matter what. And I see you working on it as an individual by yourself. And actually, I don't see a lot of resentment about the other person not being there. I see you actually loving this. I think that you're really enjoying working on this by yourself. And I think that you are making notable progress. And so this is where you're growing and expanding right now, is this whole working independently on things that you really enjoy, and just really loving the process as you go through that, as you do that. As you go through it makes it sound like it's a trial. It's the opposite of that. All right. Next we're looking at those things that you stand for. Okay, so it looks like you're preparing for something. You're preparing for something where it's not only you, but you're working together with others. So it looks like we're flipping back to whatever we saw in the work lineup there, where you're working with other people. And so you are preparing something for working with other people, some kind of project or presentation. You're just getting everything ready. And I think that you're working with other people to prepare this thing, whatever it is. And I think that you're very hopeful about where this is going to go. Whatever this is you're preparing for. You could even be preparing for a journey or for travel, actually. And if you're preparing for a journey or travel, you could be hoping that, you know what, I really hope that we have a good time. If this is preparing for some kind of campaign or promotion or presentation at work. You're really hopeful that this will go well and that this will accomplish the goal that you're setting out for it. And this is what you're standing up for. You're standing up for the idea that, you know what, I'm really hopeful that this will move forward. Somebody else may be a lot more pessimistic than you in your environment and may be saying, you really think anything's going to happen there? Come on, let's be real. And you're like, yeah, I really do. What's your problem there? Did you eat too many cookies that didn't have enough chocolate chips in them, or what? All right, so next we're looking at how this other person is perceiving you. They are seeing you. This is really interesting. I don't like how this other person is seeing you, actually. But they're seeing you as somebody who is incredibly intelligent, but that you're kind of laying down on the job. You're taking a break. And it looks to me like they feel like you're taking a break because you're sort of, because of reasons outside of your control. And they feel like you're kind of mooching. You're kind of counting on other people like a little bit too much. You're taking a break from bringing your full benefit into something. This is how they're seeing you. This is the same person that didn't understand why you're so hopeful about something. So this, I'm not so sure why. I mean, I guess if they perceive you as somebody who's not doing any work and who is kind of counting on other people, they may not see why you should be so hopeful. Maybe that does make sense as far as how their perspective would be. But you are hopeful and you are doing the work. You are putting in the work. You are preparing. You are moving forward. It's like this person really can't see you. They can't see what you've got going on. They can't see what you're investing in this and how you are pushing things along here just by your own actions. That's interesting. That really makes me wonder about the other person and why they see you like that. You know, why is their vision of you so distorted from what's actually going on? I don't like that. Can't we all just get along? That's kind of my personality. Can't we all just get along? Alrighty, let's look at the pivotal point in this week for you Virgos. Pivotal point, pivotal point. You definitely have something going on here where there's we have you actively working. We have you working on 2 projects. So what's this about? For a lot of you Virgos, I think that there's a decision that is made. And this is the pivotal point that we're seeing. There's a decision that is made where, I don't know if it's necessarily a court. It could be a company that's sending you an invoice, but somebody is telling you that you owe money or that you can't work. This could be the end of a contract, that somebody's letting you know about the end of a contract, and so you're not able to work anymore. At least not in this place. And so when this happens, whenever this decision is made that either says that you can't work anymore or that you owe money, I feel like you go backwards into some kind of escapism or some kind of old habits. This is definitely causing a change in lifestyle for you, but I feel like it's sort of taken a dark turn. I think that you don't handle it really well right off the bat. And so I think that you may be, instead of buckling down and doing what it takes to handle this, you may be sort of having an all-out extreme version of a pity party where you're doing self-sabotage. And, you know, I mean, honestly, this decision is not a fair decision that's made. Okay? I'm going to give you that. I can see that in the cards. It's not a fair decision. It may have been a decision like maybe somebody had let so many people go from a company and you were just didn't have enough seniority to stay, or who knows, maybe they drew straws, you know. But I just see that this is a setback for you, that this sets you back. And for some of you, this sets you back into some type of escapist activity that really is more self-sabotaging than anything. So up on that there's going to be some kind of unfair decision that's probably going to be made at some point during the week, and you want to sort of prepare for that idea that could happen, so that mentally and emotionally you're strong enough that you don't head back into escapism, that you just look at the thing that happened and grab the, you know, take it in stride like we saw you doing earlier. Take that in stride and look for the opportunities and move forward with them, rather than focusing on the negative and letting it set you back and really just wallowing around in that setback. You don't want to wallow in that setback. You want to get out of there as fast as you can and move forward with whatever opportunities are in front of you. So mentally and emotionally, you know, that's the thing about having these readings ahead of time. This gives you a chance to prepare mentally, emotionally to handle this in a different way than what you would have otherwise. Okay? But as far as the energy sits right now, it does look like you take a setback because somebody makes an unfair decision either about your work or about money. Probably about work. All right. What's going on as this is happening? Okay, now I'm reading the energy as it sits right now, so after you guys see this reading, that energy can change. You can decide to make it change through free will. So I just want to tell you that before I get into this. So, as of this particular moment, the way this energy is sitting is that whatever it is that is decided does have you feeling depressed and like you don't know a solution. You don't know how to handle the situation. And it is making you feel aggressive. I think that you're fighting this decision. The only problem is that when you're fighting this decision, you're fighting with somebody who is not a straight shooter, who is corrupt. Whoever made this decision, they made this decision in a corrupt way. So you fighting that person who is corrupt anyway, I mean, what's the point? You know, the outcome is going to be whatever they want it to be because they're not going to fight fair. Okay? But I do see you trying to fight this person, and I see this person being very toxic. I don't see this being a winning situation on this at all. At all. I just see this as being something that just wastes more of your energy and depletes more of your energy as you try to fight this unfair decision. What else is going on at the same time? I don't think it takes you very long to realize that this is just done. And to really let go of any idea of any kind of future in this situation. It looks to me like you may even be consulting somebody like a lawyer or somebody who is giving you advice, somebody who has been through something that is similar, and they're passing along advice to you, and you're asking for it. It's not that it's unsolicited advice. They're passing along advice to you saying, look, don't plan for this to turn out well. The best thing that you can do to save your energy on this is let this go and start focusing on something that's more positive. Don't make plans to hang out in this energy and in this contentiousness. Just let it go. That's the advice that somebody is giving you here. So what happens once we get to the end of the week? Let's see what's going on at that point. Actually, some pretty good things are going on by the time we get there. Looks like you're taking this person's advice to sort of let this go and not stay mired down in that energy of fighting to bring something back after somebody has already made a corrupt decision to cut it out. So once we get to the end of the week, Not sure how I should read this one card, and so I'm thinking that there's probably a couple of things that are happening. So for some of you, you're going to be getting readings at the end of the week to get you some clarity on, okay, what's the next step and where do I go from here? If that's you, pick me for your reader. I would love to read for you. Just saying. Can't miss an opportunity like that to just say that. And others of you, you're going to be really tuning into your own intuition and just really taking the time to sink deep into that. All right. I do feel like there's going to be something that shows up that's going to be a new idea that you really, really like. And I think you're sinking into this intuition to see, okay, is this something worth me pursuing right now? And the other thing that's happening as you're sinking into that intuition is you are finding your own power. You're finding your own strength. And you're finding that financially you're not having to worry. You might be out here as an independent person, but it doesn't mean that you're lacking anything. This could be that somebody cut your hours at another position or at a position that you had, and now you're doing some independent consulting for other companies, maybe even for the same company, but for other companies or other people, and you're doing just fine. You're probably doing better than what you were at the last place. So I don't think you stay mired down very long. I think your initial reaction is to mire down and go self-destructive, but I don't see you staying in that situation very long. I see you getting right back up on your feet, finding some great opportunities and moving forward with those, and actually coming into a better situation than what you had before things went a little bit haywire, or a lot haywire, however you want to look at it. Okay, so it's time for me to wrap this up. Okay, Virgos, and we are back for the last section of July 26th through the 31st. Let's see what shows up for you guys during this time frame. Here we go. Okay, Virgos, starting with your environment again. Let me tell Google I'm not talking to Google. That phone was loud too. I thought I had it on silent. I did. Okay, well that was rude. All right, now let's start again. Looking at your environment. Okay. I'm not sure exactly which way this is going here, but it looks like either you are distant from your environment or somebody that you care about has left your environment. I see heartache here. This is somebody that you care about greatly. This could be a romantic partner. This could be a family member. This could be a friend that you care greatly for. But somebody has left the environment. I can tell you right now that this is a temporary departure, that they will be coming back with the card that shows up here. But I'm not sure that that you're aware of that whenever they leave, because we do have a card that indicates heartache here. I think that it's the other person who has left the environment, and I think it's left you heartbroken whenever they do. All right, let's look at subconscious leanings. That wasn't a very good start to this time frame. Let's see what's going on with subconscious leanings. Okay, so there's somebody in your life that is in communication with you, and your subconscious leanings are about how to get this communication back opened up, how to get you guys back together at the level that you were at before. And so your subconscious is really working on this. So what we saw in the environment is definitely shown up in the subconscious, definitely working on trying to get things back to rights with this person who has left. And like I said, they've left temporarily. Your subconscious is working on how to make this to where you guys are back together again, wanting to be able to communicate again. I do think that right now you guys are not actually communicating. That's what it shows in your subconscious. Like, part of the problem that the subconscious is working out is how to get communication going again, since it's not. Next thing we're looking at is learning style and communication style as it pertains to July 26th through the 31st. You are learning a lot of information, but I think it's coming through kind of hazy. It's not as specific as you would like it to be. And a lot of what you're learning is making you feel a little bit cautious. It's almost like things that you're finding out are making you feel like, there's some things that I should be careful with here. As far as your communication style, I think you're trying to be very gentle in your communication style. It almost comes across to me that you're just trying not to spook somebody as you communicate. I do think your communication is coming across as being kind of confused. I think you're feeling kind of confused, and so as you're communicating, that can't help but come through. Okay? I do also think that you are communicating a need for more information to somebody else. You're letting them know, like, I need to understand more. I'm really confused about this situation. I feel like I've only got bits or pieces. I need you to talk to me. I need you to tell me what's going on. All right. Next, let's look at work and inner work. Maybe all this is happening at work. It looks like you're giving somebody another chance to work things out, basically. And this is somebody who's very creative, very social, very cheerful, very optimistic. They think outside the box. They're good problem solvers. They usually make good, solid decisions. They don't act in an immature way. And I think you're giving this person a second chance at either working things out or at coming back to work. I guess this doesn't have to be a work thing. This could be that you're offering somebody a chance to work things out that has left and that hasn't communicated. You could be saying, I know that how we ended was not ideal, but I would love it if we could work things out. That could be happening here. I think that if you're doing that, that doesn't put you in a very strong position. Considering that person left, they should be the one to come back and say, you know what, I made a mistake. I want to work things out. And if this is work, I think you're offering somebody a second chance to work things out. Either way, I see making this offer as putting you in a weakened position, a position that is less than ideal. Not that we always necessarily want to be stronger than another person, but we also don't want to be that person that other people walk all over. And I think that this kind of puts you in that position where people are making you jump through hoops without really a good reason, other than you're letting them. All right, anyway, let's look at what your inner work is. Looks to me like your inner work right now is to put on your poker face and pretend like everything's okay to the rest of the world. Actually, as I'm looking at this, it's bringing to mind that song by Miranda Lambert. I think it's called Mama's Broken Heart. This ain't your mama's broken heart. And it talks about going through a breakup and having, extreme reactions. And how, her mom was saying, get it together, put on your makeup, keep your lips closed, keep it together. This is what you're doing. Like, the inner work here is for you to kind of keep it together to the outside world. So, if you're having business meetings or professional meetings, you're not letting other people know, that your world has really been shook up. And this could be even to that other person. You're putting on your poker face. But inner work is just, not falling apart in front of people, basically, keeping it together. This seems pretty extreme, Virgos. I'm really sorry. Those of you who've been following me a while, you know that I don't candy coat things. I'm going to tell you what I see as it comes up, because I believe that if I don't tell you the truth, I don't give you a chance to prepare and a chance to use your free will to turn something in a different direction. So it's not that I'm trying to give a negative reading. I'm trying to give you a reading that's going to help you as much as it possibly can. And the only thing that sets us free is the truth. That's what I believe. So even though this may be hard to hear, because I know it's certainly hard for me to say, because I care about my people, there's a reason it's coming up. It's coming up for your highest and best interest, so that you can do something productive with this information. All right. Next, let's look at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. So it looks like you are really, first of all, you want peace. You just want peacefulness. You don't want drama. You don't want all the cray-cray that goes with the drama. You just want to be in a place of peacefulness for your own self, heart, and just for your own health. Okay? For your own mental health and physical health. And so because what you really want is peace and you want to move away from the drama, I see you making some big decisions about moving away from people who can't appreciate you, or getting distance, detaching, whether it's emotionally or whether it's physically detaching from people who can't appreciate you. I think you're just keeping your distance from them because you know that them not being able to appreciate you when you're putting out energy and effort and doing the best that you can, that's not healthy for you. That tears you down. It tears down your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And so you're just avoiding that. You're trying to detach from that so that it can't impact you, and so that you can move forward with your life productively and not let these people beat you up emotionally to the point that you just can't even take the next step. All right. Next thing we're looking at are those things that you stand for. You do have a lot on your plate right now. You're handling it really well. Other people may wonder how you're handling it, but you're juggling it all really well. Part of it is because you do have help from other people. You're collaborating with other people and they're helping you to stay on track. Having those collaborations is helping you to stay on track. Having those appointments in front of people is helping you to stay on track. And I think you're using those collaborations with other people, not in a bad way, but I think you're using those to help you to find some clarity, because there's a whole lot of confusion going on here. And so you're using those appointments, you're using those things that are structured, you're filling up your plate with things to do so that you're not so focused on the confusion that's going on for you right now. So you're basically making yourself busy. Somebody is confronting you about this. They're like, hey, how come you're not wallowing in self-pity? Anybody else would be. What's wrong with you? And you're saying, well, what's wrong with me is I don't really feel like wallowing in self-pity. Didn't think that was a bad thing. All right. So how this other person perceives you. They see you as somebody who's really disappointed because you would like to get things going again with whoever this was in your environment that you're feeling detached or distant from right now. And that person is just not willing. So they're seeing that this person's unwillingness to make a go of this. They're seeing that as something that is really disappointing you, and that you're having a hard time letting go of that hurt or that injury or just that that burden. It's a burden to carry around those negative emotions. And they're seeing you as really holding on to this. It looks to me like they feel like you making yourself so busy isn't giving you a chance to process the feelings that you're actually having over this situation. And I think that they are genuinely concerned for you. I don't think they understand that this is just how you are coping at the moment. It feels to me like you'll get around to processing that when at a later time and in littler chunks. But for right now, you just want to be focused on something else to sort of more or less kind of keep your sanity, that whole keep it together thing. This is helping you to keep it together by staying busy. Okay? All right. So, pivotal point in this time frame. What is it that turns things around, or at least in a different direction? Okay. So this thing that you were wanting comes back. All right. This situation where you were feeling detached from somebody, I see them coming back around and saying, you know what? Maybe we can talk. I don't see a lot of talk. I don't see enthusiastic talk. But they're saying, maybe we can talk. I do have feelings for you. I do care about you. You know, maybe we can talk about this. All right, so that's the thing where things start to flex and things change direction. Okay. So at the same time that this is happening, you're definitely taking this opportunity. You're tired of being alone. And I think you're talking with this person about some of the things that you discovered while you were alone. I think you got some really good insights while you guys were detached from each other. And I think you're discussing some of these with this person, and I think you're pointing out opportunities to make your relationship stronger or better moving forward. I'm not so sure that this person is on the same page with you, but at least you are getting to say what you need to say here. Also going on at the same time. Wow, simultaneously. So as quick as this, maybe we can talk about this, they're gone again. This is really rough, guys. I'm so sorry. That conversation was that you had, it was just more drama. It was more toxicity. You got to say, it looked like you're bringing across some really healthy perspective and viewpoints about things that could change, that could make this relationship better. This person's like, nah, I don't want to hear that. I'm not making a change like that. I'm not compromising. I'm not meeting you in the middle. If you want us back, it's going to be back the way that it was before. And if you want to have all these new rules, well, no, I don't want it like that. And so this person is just gone as fast as they showed up. And this person leaves with you missing them, with you obsessing about them. I feel like your head is spinning. My head is almost spinning with how fast this shows up in the cards. This is almost simultaneously. In fact, I mean, where these cards are positioned, this is simultaneously. Like, as quick as this person shows up to talk, as quick as you get a few words out of your mouth, they're gone. Now, this person may have an addiction issue, and that may be the problem. That may be where there's an unwillingness to change. There's some kind of addiction or obsession that they're not willing to let go of. Maybe there's another person in their life that they're obsessed with, and so they're not willing to let go of that. There's definitely something going on that's completely unhealthy and toxic for this person that is clouding their thoughts. When it comes to you guys' situation. And this toxic, whatever it is basically ruling. It has the priority here. It has the priority here. Okay. No wonder you were keeping busy. How do we find you at the end of the week? Wow, my head is spinning, guys. By the time we get to the end of the week, you have become the peacemaker. And you guys are making plans moving forward with this person again. You're reunited with this person and you're making plans moving forward because you became the peacemaker. Here's the problem with this. Well, I don't want to say here's the problem, but here's why I worry about you. Because for there to be peace in this situation with this person's attitude here, for there to be peace in this situation, basically, you had to cave. So whatever it was that you felt like you guys could do, and you had ideas that both of you could actually do, like you were willing to put in your part too. You weren't just saying, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. Whatever ideas that you had, this person hasn't taken those ideas at all. So basically, by the end of the week, you've caved in and you've said, you know what? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to put new rules on it. We can go back to the way things used to be, baby. Just to have them back. And they come back and you're making plans to be together long term. Now, I don't know what your problems were that you guys actually detached from each other for a short time. I'm worried about the idea that somebody else is not willing to make any changes when you are. And if you're making plans to be with this person long term, I think it might be a good idea to ask yourself, do I want to live the rest of my life the way I'm living it right now? Because I don't see a lot changing here. I don't see a lot changing here. I see this person basically throwing fits when they don't get what they want, disappearing, feeling like they're teaching you a lesson, and coming back and expecting you to go back to the same old every time. Is that what you want? I think you really have to look at that long and hard. Or at least you would be wise to. You don't have to. Anyway, that is your month, Virgos. That last week was pretty sobering. Anyway, thank you, all of you, seriously, for being here and spending some of your precious time with me. I know these are very long, but I'm really wanting to go in depth. I'm wanting to really offer something that is genuinely helpful to those of you who are out there watching these. And I want to thank you also for putting thumbs ups on these videos, especially if you find that they're helpful for you, and sharing them with other people that they may be helpful for as well. And then, of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings from me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So seriously, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Everybody, if I don't see you here this month for a private reading, I will see you back on the next video. Peace out. Take a break.